Hey guys, it's Sam here. Welcome back to the channel. This is the start of a new series for this week that I'm calling the Reset Week, and I thought I'd take a moment to explain what that's about, what it's going to entail, and what kind of content you're going to see for the next week or so. So I'm here in Bodyworks Gym. It's going to start with a workout, but the main structure of this week is it's going to be 3 days on a carnivore diet, followed by 4 days of fasting. That's water fasting, so continuous fasting with no food at all for 4 days. And the reason I'm doing this is for health benefits, autophagy basically, clear out all of the dead cells and debris in my body over this week. As you know, I come to the end of my challenge the other day, well, just over a week ago now, on the road to 300 pounds. So that was my bulking program, which have been going on actually since about mid-June last year in 2 phases there. And I documented the second phase of that through that video series, which I've been very happy to achieve. But now it's the next phase where I need kind of a break from eating so much. I'm going into a cruise. I've basically just had a week kind of, not like off, I've still been training as you know, but kind of eating less on something of a diet break. And now I'm going to take the opportunity to have a week of tidying up, getting rid of a little bit of body fat, and obviously doing this fasting process, which is going to be good for my health, and it's going to reset me in a way that will help my gains later on this year when I get back into a gaining program, which will be about early June, probably the first week of June, but I'm going to see how I go. The reason I'm doing 3 days of carnivore dieting at the start of this is because that's almost zero carb. And what I want to do is completely exhaust the glycogen stores so that I'm losing as much body fat as possible from the very first day that I jump into the water fasting, which will be Thursday, I anticipate. So today's Monday. Monday through Wednesday is going to be almost zero carb carnivore. The reason it's almost zero carb is because you actually get 0.5 gram of carbohydrate in an egg, and I will be eating some eggs. So it's going to be like under 10 grams per day, which is going to be sufficient to completely clear out the storage, which will assist Thursday through to Sunday for maximum body fat loss. And what I want to do at the end of the week is show you what I'm looking like, so you can see what an extreme difference can be made in a week, because you'll be able to compare that to the video check-in that I did at the end of my bulking to 300 pounds a week ago. So throughout this week, I'm going to call it the Reset Week, and it's going to reset my body somewhat, and it's going to prime me for what I intend to do later on come about June. And it'll be an opportunity to show you some different kinds of workouts which are not solely hypertrophy based, which is what I was doing pretty much exclusively from January in my video content. So it's going to be more of an in-depth demonstration of what I do for cardio, the high intensity interval training, some of the low steady state cardio that I would do as well. Today's going to be a general workout, so no particular structure to it, just what I feel like doing. I might see how my pull-up strength is getting on. I'm going to start with the weights and just do maybe one exercise for each area of the body, and then move into some little circuits, probably with the battle ropes upstairs. So you'll see my workout for today in Bodyworks Gym in Tottenham. And then later on today, I'll be showing some of the meals that I'm doing that are carnivore, zero carbs, so there'll be a day of eating a bit. At some point there'll be a grocery haul, except it won't be the biggest one because it'll only be for 3 days, as I'll be fasting from Thursday to Sunday. And my other plan for today is get on a sunbed, which is like, I'll share more details about how that's done and how to get the most benefit from that later on in this video. But the reason I'm doing it early in the week is so that any redness like settles down by the end of the week, so that I'll be showing what I'm looking like at my best, having lost quite a bit of body fat I anticipate, and so it's getting that ready for Sunday by doing it early on the week today. So that's coming later. I'm just having my pre-workout before I get started. I'm reflecting on my weekend. So on Saturday, I was with one of my friends that I'm working with over at the Two Bros show at Maidenhead, the Ben Weider Classic, that also had the One Bro Pro show with Classic Physique there. So I don't want to get too much into the details because it's not my place to say, and I didn't witness anything, but this show has actually already become infamous online because of an incident that took place at the end of the show where Michael Daboul ended up in hospital and had commented on a number of things, and people are wondering what's going to happen next with these promoters and this federation and how it feeds into the IFBB. So it's not my place to say what happened because we left at the end of the men's show and I didn't witness anything, but I'm going to be interested to see what kind of comes out of this, because it could mean that amateur bodybuilding in the UK changes quite a lot depending on what the NPC and the IFBB want to do next with the situation. So not really my sort of thing to be expressing a view on this with the kind of content that I want to put out there, and as I didn't even witness anything, but you will see quite a lot of reference to this event online, and we will all see what developments flow out of this and what that means for us competitors in the coming weeks and months, I expect. But the highlight of the weekend for me, the Saturday, as well as hanging out with my friend there, was seeing Georg Behringer get his pro card. So this is Bavarian Bull on Instagram. I'd seen him on Instagram, but I didn't recognise him on stage because he looks so amazing in person, and I didn't realise that he was the one that I'd already seen online being coached by Martin Winston, and I saw him up there and he just looked incredible. So that was really inspiring for me. He's probably about 6'1", possibly even 6'2", and really broad structure, filled out, and because of that kind of dwarfed everyone in the super heavyweight class, and then won the overall in his pro card as well. And I actually found it kind of moving because we were lucky to be sat quite near the front, and we were actually the row in front of George's best friend and girlfriend, who was screaming like support and I just sort of think that how much support they would have given him over the years and how much hard work he would have had to put into that physique, and then for his best friend and his partner to be there from getting his pro card, and how much excitement that caused was actually quite moving for me, and I think he looked absolutely fantastic. So I'll be interested to see how his career in the pro ranks goes from now, because it's definitely the sort of physique that I find really impressive. So that was inspiration for me on Saturday, and what I really enjoyed about this show, and I sort of hope that doesn't get overshadowed. And then in the classic physique, the pro card went to Mind of Muscle, what's his name, Brandon, and he was one of the ones that beat me last year, and I've always thought he looked amazing, and he did really well 2 weeks ago where he got his pro card today, and I think that was thoroughly deserved, because when he went on into the pro show that followed, about 10 minutes later, he actually placed third. So it just goes to show like how high level he was, just waiting to win the right sort of contest and compete with the pros, and that was very exciting to see as well, because he's another fantastic bodybuilder, and I find that really inspiring, and I don't want the achievements of either of those guys to get completely overshadowed by whatever took place later on in the day in that contest on Saturday. So just a sort of shout out and congratulations to those two guys whose progress I've been following anyway with some interest. I don't know which show I'll be going to watch or have any work to do at next, but that was a particularly good one. So I'm glad that I went to that on Saturday, and it's always nice for me to support other people and get inspired by what they've achieved, and just see a really good bodybuilding show. So it's a really good display of bodybuilding, and it gives me the itch to get competing again, which will probably be next year, because I intend, after all of this reset and optimization that I'm doing for the rest of this month, and in particular this week, to be optimally set up to make even more gains from June into the second half of this year. So while I got up to 300 pounds and was like okay-ish condition for that, I intend to go beyond that and be even more solid, resist the temptation to compete, and see what I can put together for next year while focusing on all the content and all the work on this and helping you guys. So that's what's going on. I think that's brought you up to date. I can now get warmed up. I am really itching to see what I can do on pull-ups, so I'll really start with that. A few other exercises and then blast it with the cardio. Okay, half a rep more than last time perhaps. My little friend is guarding my stuff. That's cute, isn't it? Right, I'll give that another good go. That'll do. Next up, I'm going to do my flat bench pressing with one of these machines where you've got the plate loaded system. It just works it for you because I don't often get a chance to go on these. And this particular variation is one of these kind of help your bro machines where it's got the dips on one side and the press on the other. So you can do some pretty intensive spotting for your training partner, get them lifting more and cheating and just filming one half of it. I think that's definitely going to have to be in the content at some point. But for me, it's just going to be the chest pressing here. I'm just going to do one exercise per muscle group, keep the whole thing going, and then cardio at the end. Something I almost forgot about before starting this was putting some weights underneath the stoppers at the bottom to stop it stretching too much when I finish the set. So I did remember that just in time before commencing this, and I always recommend getting that in place with these sorts of machines. I'm going to do one more set here and move on. I like this one. This one you're pushing more straight than most models like this. A lot of models like this, it sort of converges more. So it's a slightly different feeling, and I rarely see this type, so I tend to make sure to give it a go if I'm up this way. For the next exercise, I'm going with the Ham Strength MTS row. So this is one of their weight stack ones, and it's one that's underhand or supinated grip to the nerds out there. I normally don't do back exercises with that underhand grip because it sort of feels like it's using my biceps more, and I train them separately. And back, I want to really emphasise on its own on the days that I train back, but because this is a more blended all body workout, I'm trying to cover a little bit of everything with a couple of sets. I'm going to use this for a change so that it'll exercise my biceps just minimally there and provide a bit of variety. But the idea with this workout is there's going to be something pushing this way, which we've just had, something pushing this way, which is yet to come, something pulling this way, which we've already had with the pull-ups, and something pulling this way, which is going to be this exercise here. And if you're going to do like an upper-lower split as a beginner and trying to save time, just one exercise of each of those 4 categories will give you a pretty good upper body coverage. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate today, and hopefully that's useful if you're trying to save time with your workouts or get something more introductory here. So I've already set up the seat to my satisfaction. I'm just going to check my camera angle here. Yeah, that'll be about right. And put a little bit more weight on. Nothing excessive, as you've already gathered. I'm not kicking the arse out of it today. This being my reset week. I'm still always in the habit of using the straps. So hopefully that's not going to waste too much time in the video, but set 1, okay. Another point of note with these sorts of machines is to get the full stretch on your back, you're going to need to set this pad in the right place. So because I've got long arms, I need it as far this way as possible to get full stretch of my lats at the bottom of the movement there. But if your arms are shorter, you'd want this a little bit further forward, so it moves on these like this, and I just have it all the way back. And second set, touch heavier here. Now, just the pressing overhead to chuck in, to use my shoulders a little bit. And that would have been a nice refresher on everything upper body, and we're going to take a look at some circuits after that. And here's my choice, the hammer strength MTS shoulder press. So same series as the last piece of equipment that I used, and pretty easy. Like if you're new to resistance training at all and scared of getting dumbbells in place and wanted quite a beginner workout like this, a piece of kit like this would be ideal. It's all set up there for you as long as you get the seat height correct. One more set, and then I'll explain a little bit more about my rationale with the extra cardio this week for what I'm trying to do. So, easy stuff here. Let's get it done, and then on to the intense cardio. Let's take it upstairs. Up on the mezzanine now, and I can explain a little bit more about what I'm doing with my exercises for this week. So the reason I picked 3 days of the zero carb diet for completely depleting glycogen stores is because it usually takes between 1 to 3 days, depending on a number of factors, and those factors would be how much muscle you've got, how much carbs you've been eating and what sort of exercise you've been doing, amongst other things. So, because I put all this size on, because eating higher carbohydrate in my diet than I normally would has been a big part of that, I was thinking that I'd need more, like 3 days, to completely exhaust the stores there. But to make sure that I've done it, I'm going to throw more exercise into these 3 days of the cardio to make sure that it's done, to make sure that it's all wiped out by the end of that 3rd day pretty much, so I can make the most of the following 4 days with the water fasting. So it's going to mean circuits now in my workouts for these next 3 days, just to make sure of it. And what I'm going to do is a bit like my cardio video last time where I explained Tabata training. I'm going to try and do harder version of that each day for the next 3 days. So if you didn't know, the HIIT training, that's HIIT, high intensity interval training, Tabata style, is where you do 8 sets of 20 seconds exercise with 10 seconds rest in between. And then that's considered a whole round, those 8 20-second blasts. And I like to pick different exercises for amongst that, but you don't have to. And what I'm going to start with on this one is do burpees and then 3 floor core exercises that will give a variety of emphasis on my abs. So I'm going to do crunches, reverse crunches and bicycle crunches, which emphasize the upper abs, the lower abs and the obliques. What's the word for it? Respectively. And that's going to give me 4 rounds, 4 sets in total, which I'll repeat for the next 4 sets, which will give me 8 sets, which will be a full round. So that's going to be my first round. Don't know how many rounds I'm going to manage, but the subsequent rounds will be some different exercises. I've got all of this on an app on my phone called Interval Timer, which is very useful. You can download that for free, and I've already got the preset on it for Tabata protocol. So I'm just going to select that now on my phone. There it is at the bottom there. And that'll be my 8 sets. So I just reset it at the end of each round and go again. What I do with the phone is I put it on the ground where I can see it clearly, and on this particular app it shows green when the set's on and then red when it's or blue when it's your rest of the 10 seconds, so it's easy to see what's going on without reading it. So wish me luck. Here goes. 5 seconds to prepare. Seconds rest now. Those burpees were sketchy, haven't done them for a long time. Oh, last one of the round coming up. And that's one round finished, so the idea is to have done a full Tabata style workout. You do 4 rounds like that. Last time I did it on video the other day, I'd done 2, so I want to manage 2 today, possibly more, but not including burpees, as that was shocking. Well, burpees look and feel like at nearly 300 pounds. So no more of those. Okay, next round of 8 sets, going to be more the battle ropes stuff. I'll put my phone now where I can see it. Get ready now. Rest. It's going to be just 2 rounds today. Maybe 3 or 4 later in the week. Get my breath back and pack this up. Okay guys, I'm back at the ranch now, the old protein palace, and I'm going to make the first meal of the day, which is going to be just steak and egg, Vince Gironda style. So half a dozen eggs, a nice big fat ribeye. I like to do all of my cooking in beef tallow, so I'm going to get that ready first. And I thought it'd be good just to do the cookery for this meal, as I think I cut it off and missed it off when I was using it as my last meal of the day in the previous weeks. So you haven't seen, I mean, not that you need the instructions probably, but it's just a demo of how quick this will be as a meal. So I fire up I'm going to cook them at the same time and fire up the one for the steak straight away. While that's warming up, I'll open the packet and get the eggs all whisked up, because I'm going for scrambled here, so any bowl is going to be big enough for the 6 here. Another day I'll teach you the easiest way of separating the yolk and the whites, but that's not for today, because I'm going for all the yolks here. It's not going to be the biggest meal. I'm very relieved to be eating less, you know. It becomes the biggest challenge when you're growing past a certain point, as I was doing on this road to 300 pounds lark that I've just completed. But I actually love eating the carnivore style, steak and egg in particular, so this will be a very satisfying meal, even though it's not the most enormous that I would have on my bulking escapades. This is the kind of thing that fits very nicely into the last meal of the day when bulking, and kind of any meal of the day when I'm at extreme cutting and manipulating carbohydrates right down to nothing. So there's my big fat juicy ribeye. I can go on straight away. I don't want to patronise anyone here, but I do actually know that for some beginners, cooking your own food has got some gaps in knowing what you're doing here. So, you know, maybe for someone this will be useful to see what order I'd throw things together to get this meal cooked as quickly as possible. So when you're frying the steak, it's about a minute or so each side, and then turn the heat down to half to cook it through the middle as much as you wish, whether that's going to be like well done, very well done, medium rare, etc. I usually go for about medium, so to do that on most appliances and utensils, you're going to do about a minute on full blast on each side, and then maybe for one of this thickness, like 20 seconds on half heat either side as well. But I don't put a timer on. All I do is just take the spoon and like have a look, so when I can see it's a little bit browned on the edge on the underside there, it'll be time to flip it over and do the other side similarly. So that can be left for now. And while that's doing, I get the pot for the scrambled egg all done, now that it's whisked up and mixed nicely in the bowl here. But this is one of the few meals that I do where I've actually got to keep eyes on for the duration of cooking it. I don't mess it up. All my other meals I can just set and forget with things like the air fryer and the rice cooker. But here, that's about what you're looking for on each side, so I can flip it over and do it the same on the other side now. Now the beef tallow's melted in this pot, I just make sure that it's gone round the edges, which is going to stop any of the eggs sticking. The egg's not going to take long at all when it's on high heat like this, but the trick is to keep it moving, to not dry it out on any side of it, and to turn the heat down as you go. So all of that, you've got to just keep checking these things. It should be little more than a 5-minute job making a meal like this if you're doing it in this kind of order. Doesn't even matter to use the same spoon when keeping the scrambled egg moving and keeping the steak flipping. And once you've done this a load of times, you just get a feel for when the heat needs to go down on the egg to not burn it. But before it's completely done, you want to turn the heat completely off and just keep it moving, because the pan stays very hot. And if you do overdo it, you'll make it too dry, and most people don't like the scrambled egg too dry. I certainly don't. So that's more than half done already, that scrambled egg, from being on the highest heat. So I'm going to take it down to the lowest heat while I check the other side of the steak. Yeah, that's just as brown, so now I put that on half heat to cook for another 20 seconds or so to get it about medium through the middle. And to check that as I go, I just take knife and fork and cut into it and have a look. Yeah, it's not going to take long at all. In fact, I can put the heat down one further. Got to keep the egg moving here so that doesn't stick. I'm very close to done with the whole thing now. Make sure I don't burn my hands. Get the oven glove ready for holding these. Okay, and then do the other side, half heat on the steak there. It's less than half heat now. Egg needs to catch up a bit, so I'll put it up a couple of notches. In about 20 seconds from done with the whole lot, so get the plate ready to land it all on. I'm actually curious myself how long this is going to have taken on the video, because I like to tell people that when you get the hang of this, it shouldn't be taking much more than 5 minutes to cook a really good, tasty, nutrient dense, healthy meal like this. Right, steak can come off, that'll be done for sure. That one done. Egg just got to keep moving. Right, this is the bit where it's 95% done. You want to turn the heat off completely. I'll turn the whole hobs off. Just keep it moving there. And offload it onto the plate for this Vince Gironda style bodybuilding special. And what I like to do straight away with my pans, just put them in the hottest water, get them soaking, so they're going to be even faster to wash up and get ready for whatever meal comes next. It's not on full heat yet, but it will be in half a minute. That's just about done. Steak and egg is a classic though. Is there a better bodybuilding meal than that? I think not. Just arrange it on the plate in a more appealing way. Ribeye and 6 eggs. Voila! And this should only be a 10 or 15 minute job to enjoy, but while I'm doing this, I'm going to get better work done on my computer, check for any questions that are coming in, jobs that I'm dealing with at the moment, and then I'll reconvene for the video on the Sunbed trip and give you some advice about that. So, catch you in a second. This is the last main task for today, the sunbed. So I'm using the standing one here. This is Anya's in wood green, and I prefer the standing one because you can kind of move around, lift your arms up, it gets it more even. So that's something that I'd say is better on the sunbeds. And then the other thing that I do that makes the tan like not flake and last longer is if you scrub like really hard all over the body. Like, I don't use any products for it, I just use like flannel or scourer just all over the place to get all the dead skin off, which means that it'll be less flaky because it's not just burning onto the old skin that's ready to come off anyway, and the tan goes in deeper and will last a lot longer. So I recommend that on the morning before you go for any kind of sunbed, and if you haven't done it before, just do a few minutes. I did one fairly recently, so I'm going to do 8 minutes on here and that should be fine. I'm just about ready for this and it's turning on, but I don't think there's going to be much of showing you how I'm looking like now, because there's hardly any room in this tiny little room. It's more like a cupboard in here. So how I'm looking at the end of this week, we'll have to wait until Sunday at the end of this week, but I better get started now. And that's it for this time. Really not a lot to say or see, to be honest. I much prefer these things since I shaved the hair off, because when I had longer hair, the fan in there was blowing it all over the place. Much more comfortable now, but there's a lot more that you see when you really cut down like pre-show and you get like a sunbed, because it makes like all the veins stick out and you just look ridiculous, looking like sweatier, and all the vascularity in your body is like very sickening to see actually when you're in prep when you do this. But I do this mostly in contest prep, not that I'm prepping now of course, but when I'm in contest prep, I find that it's a really nice way of gauging my progress and how I'm looking week by week, day by day, especially at the end, by getting more of a tan and replicating how I'm actually going to look like on the stage under the lights. So I'll always do my videos and pictures like under a down light and with a natural tan going on to sort of replicate how I'm going to look and judge how close I am to what it should look like. I find that really useful in contest prep, so that's what I do. But you don't want to do it too close to the end of the contest, because if any of the skin looks red while it's still healing, or you're going to like cause your skin flaky by overdoing it. I normally drop the sunbeds at least a week out, sometimes more, for those problems. And also because you're injuring your skin by doing that, it can cause a little bit of inflammation, like water like under the skin, which you don't want when you want to look all shredded and everything like that. So you do need to leave a gap between doing it and your contest if it is something that you do in contest prep to see how you're looking. So I just wanted to say that as well for those of you that are getting ready for contests or want to look your absolute best for whatever reason and you're using sunbeds, just sort of drop them 7 to 10 days before whatever the day is. And that brings me to the end of today's video, day one of the extreme reset here. And don't worry, that's not the real Hollywood Hills up there, it's just a cinema in wood green. But I'm looking forward to the rest of the content I can put out this week to show you what I do with a kind of reset there and tidy up. I think it'll be nice to show what difference can be made in a week with 3 days carnivore and then 4 days fasting, but also talk about other things like my workouts that will be included that are more on the cardio side, with the interval training there, which I hope to improve my fitness on. I have to admit that those burpees today were somewhat embarrassing, and I hope to improve on that in the coming days. But I'll be getting on the weights as well, so it'll be a workout with each of these days. It'll be some more meal preps included, and a shopping haul probably tomorrow, but it won't be a big one because it'll only be for 2 days, as I'll be going into the fasting from after day 3, so day 4 to day 7, and I'll be vlogging what that feels like. But I can tell you straight away that after the first 2 days that sort of thing gets easier. So I know that probably Thursday, Friday are going to be the most difficult parts of this process, but it'll all be worth it, having pushed the food so much and the bulking to give the entire digestive system a break for 4 days. If you've never done fasting at all, like for a day or longer, it's sort of a weird thought that your digestive system has never had a day's rest in your whole lifetime so far. I've found it very beneficial in the past, and I'm hoping that all the things that I do this week will optimize my progress when I really push forwards with bulking again from about June, but also provide more varied content in showing you what changes can be achieved in just 1 week by showcasing some of the more extreme tools in the toolbox with zero carb and fasting. So look forward to all of that. As usual, I'm happy to take any questions in the comments below, so leave those if you're interested in the rest of what happens this week and all this bodybuilding coverage and all topics that I'm happy to discuss. Consider subscribing, and I'll be back online tomorrow. Thank you very much. Cheers.